almost fearful. Looking back on that day, Popsa's whole demeanour was my first experience of the mask we Venetians, Italians, in fact, needed to adopt over the coming years. Behind the beautiful and glittering facade of Italy's jewelled city, the veneer of Venice would take on Popsa's frown, hiding its determination to maintain the real fabric of its people against Hitler and fascism. But back then, in my late teens, I wasn't politicized. I was a young woman enjoying my last days at high school, relishing a summer on the beautiful beaches of the Lido, the late, low sun of endless Venetian days, and perhaps the prospect of a fleeting summer romance. It was several years before I appreciated the significance of Hitler's visit on that warm June day, more than 5 years before war broke out, or the impact of Mussolini's public phone-in to a man who would become the devil to a good part of the world. At the dawn of war, when Italy pledged its military might alongside Hitler, I recall telling my grandfather what I later learned about that day in 1934. "You know what Mussolini said about Hitler on that visit?" I asked him, pulling up the blanket over his whispery chest hair, watching his beleaguered lungs fighting the pneumonia which only days later would defeat him. He called him a mad little clown. Popsa only smiled, suppressing a laugh he knew would force his lungs into a lengthy coughing fit. He scooped in a breath. "Ah, but Mussolini is simply a big clown. And you know what clowns do, Stella?" "No, Popsa." "They create havoc, my darling, and they get away with it."
Chapter 1. Grief. London, June 2017. The tears come in a torrent. Great fat orbs that well up from inside her, catching momentarily on her eyelids. For a second, she feels as if she is looking through a piece of the thick, warped Murano glass dotted around her mother's living room, until she blinks, and they roll down her dried-out cheeks. 10 days into her grief, Louisa has learned not to fight it, allowing the deluge to cascade in rivers towards her now sodden chin. Jamie has helpfully placed boxes of tissues around her mother's house. Much like city dwellers are supposed to be never more than 6 feet from some kind of vermin, now she is never without a man-size hanky to hand. Emotional fallout over, Louisa faces a more frustrating issue. The keyboard of her laptop has fared badly from the human cloudburst, and a glass tipped over in her temporary blindness. Several of the keys are swimming in salt tears and tap water. It's too late to mop up the flood. Even a consistent jabbing of various keys tells her the screen is frozen and the machine displaying its dissatisfaction. Electronics and fluids do not mix. "Oh, Jesus, not now!" Louisa moans into the air. "Not now! Come on, Days! Work! Come on, girl!" She jabs at the keyboard again, following it up with a few choice expletives and more tears, this time of frustration. It's the first time she's been able to face opening Daisy, her beloved laptop, since the day before her mum died. Louisa wants to say the word died, needs to keep on saying it because it's a fact. Her mum didn't pass away because that somehow alludes to a serene exit, floating from one dimension to another without rancour, where there is time to put things to right amid crisp white sheets and soft blankets, to say things you want to say, need to say. Even with her limited experience of death, Louisa knows it was short, blunt, and brutal. Her mum died. End of. 2 weeks from first diagnosis, 1 week of that in a drug-induced coma to combat the unbearable pain. And now Louisa is the one enduring the inevitable ache of grief. Throw anger and frustration into the mix and you might touch on the myriad of emotions pitching and rolling around her head, heart and assorted organs 24/7. So Louisa attempts what she always does when she cannot settle, eat, speak or socialise. She writes.